While we're on the subject of antitrust legislation, let's talk about something relevant that happened in regards to antitrust legislation in agriculture and recently. So there is this little thing down in Georgia called the Georgia Dock. It doesn't exist anymore, but it existed for several decades. So the Georgia Dock was just price data. Back in the day, Georgia was one of the biggest poultry producers in the nation. And because of the nature of poultry production, where you have large firms that are operating in an oligopoly marketplace that are selling the poultry to other big firms that are basically oligopsonies, that are big grocery stores that turn around and sell poultry to people, the market mechanism isn't transparent like it is with corn or soybeans, where we have the Chicago Board of Trade, where we can observe market prices. So in an attempt to gather market information, someone at the Georgia Department of Agriculture decided to start calling up poultry companies and just asking them, hey, how much money are you selling your poultry for? And the companies, for some reason, said, oh, sure, we'll tell you. They took all that information, averaged it out, and every so often, I forget if it was monthly or weekly, they would publish an average wholesale price of poultry. So this, in theory, is the price that grocery stores should be paying for it. The problem is that they really didn't do a really good job with their paper trail, meaning instead of calling the grocery stores to verify that that is indeed what they were paying for their poultry, they just trusted that the poultry companies were going to tell them the actual amount they were selling their poultry for. And this is where the antitrust thing pops in. And this is where it gets really difficult to prove that someone has violated antitrust law. The only way to really do it is to put a wire on an informant and send them into a meeting where the individual companies are together with their representatives trying to fix the prices and agreeing on what price to charge. There's this other thing that might happen called tacit collusion. Tacit collusion is perfectly legal, and it happens when firms do what appears to be colluding, but without any backroom deals where they agree to charge a certain price. Let's think about how this might happen in the case of the Georgia Dock. Let's say there's 5 companies that are selling poultry products in Georgia. Each of these companies gets a call once a week or an email once a week from the State Department of Agriculture and ask, hey, what are you charging for your chicken? How much are you selling it for? And let's say, for the sake of argument, they all say $1. We charge $1. But for some reason, one of the companies, the person in charge of the report, writes the wrong number down. He just makes a mistake. Instead of writing down $1, he writes down $1.20. So now you got 4 companies that say they're selling it for $1 and one that says they're selling it for $1.20. So when you average that out, let's get the calculator and average that out. There we go. Got the number. Okay. So when you average that out, the average price is not $1, it's $1.04. Well, then what happens? Well, the Georgia Dock then gets published. It's out there on the web in like a newsletter or some other format for people to see. Company number 1 that made perhaps an honest mistake and reported a wrong number, or perhaps they just lied and reported a wrong number, they look at it and they say, oh, wow. We made a mistake and reported the wrong number, and the average has gone up. And they go, I wonder if we did that. Or maybe they don't even notice it, and they just look at the number and go, hey, it went up. It went up to $1.04. All the other companies, they look at it and say, oh, look at that. The price of poultry went up. Last week I was selling it for $1, but everyone else was selling it for, on average, $1.04. So if I'm selling mine for $1, and if the average is $1.04, that means someone else is selling it for more than $1.04. That's just how averages work. They look at it and they say, maybe 4 of us sold it for $1 and 1 of us sold it for $1.20. Well, if someone else can sell their poultry for $1.20, well, that means I can sell my poultry for $1.20. So what do? At the very least, they all charge the average published by the Georgia Dock the next week. And some of them look at that and do the math that I just did and said, well, in order for the average to be $1.04, someone must have been above average, and maybe they go for $1.10. And so some of them charge 4 cents more, some of them charge 10 cents more, whatever the case may be. And then the next week, the Georgia Dock comes out, and now the average is, $1.08. Over 2 weeks, we've seen the price of chicken go up 8 cents, all because someone accidentally gave the wrong number 2 weeks ago. You don't actually need any nefarious wrongdoing for this to happen. All you have to do is have a mistake, and firms attempting to get the highest price possible for their product will just take that information into their decision process, and it'll then spiral out of control. And that is what happened with the Georgia dock. Now, I don't know exactly what happened with the Georgia dock, and the last I heard, there was an antitrust lawsuit against poultry producers in Georgia. And as far as what actually happened, we don't know. We need to get the court documents to find out, and I don't particularly have access to those. And so in theory, we could get a situation where no one's done anything wrong, and then we start seeing this price begin to spiral upward. And when we compare the Georgia dock to the numbers the USDA have, it turns out that the price in Georgia was higher than the price the USDA was reporting, which leads you to believe that maybe the Georgia dock isn't correct. And of course, there's no verification in the Georgia dock. There's no way to check to make sure the numbers are right. And so you end up with this kind of nasty situation pop up where maybe perhaps the chicken companies all colluded, but maybe they didn't, and you have a lawsuit to find out. That's how this thing kind of works. So there's a relevant recent example of these antitrust laws and their impact on agriculture. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.